Good morning and welcome to the Wednesday, December the 20th, 2023 Lextran Board of Directors meeting. My name is Norma Zamora and I'm serving as the interim Lextran General Manager. At this time, I will turn over the meeting to our Chair, Harding Dow.
Thank you, Norma. We'll call this meeting to order and we will call the roll. Ms. Rogers?
Here.
Ms. Borges-Gonzalez?
Here.
Mr. Ward is absent. Mr. Schoninger?
Here.
Judge Thurston?
Present.
Dr. Acapo?
Here.
All right, and Mr. Motley is absent. We have a quorum. Thank you so much for everybody for making us a full meeting today. I appreciate it. We got a lot to get through. Starting with the approval of the minutes from both the October 23 and November 23 meetings. Has everyone had a chance to review? Are there any questions or corrections? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. As far as the chair's report goes, today's a very exciting day for Lextran. We have been through our general manager search process and today are presented with two different resolutions to affirm our very own Fred Combs as he moves from what we're now calling the lone finalist into the role of general manager. So we're excited to do that, and I appreciate everybody being here in support of that transition for the agency. One other bit of housekeeping. In an effort to protect our procurement process, we've had a little bit of a change in how the agendas and the board packets will be posted publicly. The agendas will be posted publicly as per statutes. After the meeting is when the full board packet will be posted online. You on the board will receive it as you normally do. And then I want to cede the floor to our outgoing interim general manager, Norma Zamora, who has done a yeoman's job of keeping us on track these last several months. We thank you so much, Norma, and I think you wanted to say a few words.
Yeah, I just want to say that it's been a pleasure serving as the GM for Lextran. I've really enjoyed working with the staff and the directors. It's been a very pleasant experience, and I see great things for Lextran in the near future, and want to wish you all much success with Lextran. And at the same time, I also want to wish everybody a safe and happy holiday season. So thank you for allowing me to be here.
Yes, thank you, Norma.
Thank you.
We aim to be pleasant above all things. That was pleasant. I did want to, before we move on, mention one adjustment to the agenda that I'd like to make. In light of the action items on our list, I wanted to make the opportunity for closed session right after the report of financials. So at that time, Judge Thurston is going to read us in to closed session for the discussion of contracts pertaining to the agency. So at that time, or at this time, Fred, your final performance report in your current role.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you. Let me swap over to our PowerPoint. I'm happy to present my performance report for November. Our mission statement: we serve people in our community with mobility solutions. Some highlights from November: we extended free rides on Election Day to increase access to polling locations around the city, hopefully to drive more civic engagement. Also on Thanksgiving Day, we had free rides for the community and provide our working staff with holiday meals. A group of Lextran staff visited the Memphis Area Transit Authority to evaluate their CAT AVL system. We have more information and a resolution on CAT AVL later in the meeting, but we do want you to know that we took the opportunity to go visit another agency that had a system in place. We got to ask good questions, see how the other system operated. It was a wonderful learning experience, CAT AVL and beyond. We held our final pension committee meeting of the calendar year in November. We had a question and answer session for the Wheels Rider Guide. That was for the Bluegrass Council of the Blind. And our community relations staff completed 5 community travel trainings throughout the month and attended the Eastside Technical Center College Fair. We had 4 commendations for the month for Mildred Hunt, Joy Gambrell, and Kelvin White, all bus operators, and one for Julie Moon, who's our community engagement coordinator. So kudos to staff on the commendations. For ridership in November, we were just shy of 350,000 trips. That's a fairly strong November, but as you see, we're kind of tracking right along our monthly average. So I feel like this was a pretty standard, as expected month. And a little of the same on the paratransit side. We're at about 14,000 trips. And you see the difference between the average and the monthly ridership. Even for the past few months, we've sort of tracked right along as expected. You will notice the previous year, so the dashed line on this chart, it did drop in October of last year. That is the transition to RATB Dev. So that was the initial ridership hit when that transition occurred. So our system productivity, again, about 350,000 trips on fixed route, 14,000 on paratransit. Our trips per mile per hour, that's the productivity metrics, are all pretty good on both systems. Revenue miles and hours came out to be about what we would expect for the month. On-time performance for fixed route was about 86%. We have noticed maybe some travel time issues due to our ridership growth. So our operations team is looking deeper into that to maybe come up with some schedule tweaks that we can make to help improve that on-time performance. For wheels, we were up to 70%. So again, we're seeing those slow and steady incremental improvements on our paratransit side. Safety, we had 3 preventable accidents on fixed route and 1 on paratransit. One point to note on this chart is the 6 workers' compensation claims, which led to an elevated injury frequency rate. I know John and the safety team have been doing a deep dive into that to see kind of where we can make some adjustments to improve those numbers moving forward. And lastly, on maintenance, we were just shy of 10,000 miles between roll calls, another strong month, and 55 out of 55 preventive maintenance inspections completed on time. So happy to address any questions on the performance report. Any questions?
I have questions.
Yeah.
So our paratransit is up compared to last year, but last year was an anomaly year. Is it comparable to the year before the transition?
Paratransit ridership,
Yes.
we're well below where we were before the year before the transition.
So we're better than we were last year, but not the
Not
years
the prior.
prior. Right, okay. And then, because I know this has been in the news a lot in one of our sister agencies, that they're significantly below their 2020 numbers in one of our large major metros, but we're back to our pre-2020 numbers, or right at.
On fixed route, we're a little bit behind. We're ahead of the average because the averages change as the newer
Right.
years come through. We saw a few 400,000 trip months on fixed route before the pandemic, so we're getting pretty close to that
Yeah.
again. On paratransit, we would be over 20,000 trips before the pandemic, and so now we're hitting between 14 and 15,000. So still a little behind on paratransit as well.
So our peak months were around that 400K,
Mhm.
and now we're at 350.
I think we were at about 380 back in October, so we got pretty close to, yeah.
Yeah. And then our on-time performance is lower than our goal.
Mhm.
Our goal is 90. Is that right?
Yes.
Any discussion on that?
We have had discussion on that. Randolph and Jason have taken a deeper look. Do you guys have anything to add on on-time performance?
So what I will add is that in the prior month of October, it was trending down. However, in the month of November, in the month of October, it's been trending up in the right direction. We made a few tweaks along the way. We do have a few listening sessions coming up with the community as well. And I've been working closely with Emily as well to address some concerns and immediate compliance. So I think that in the next upcoming month and the next board meeting, we'll have some better reports and better numbers.
Is that fair, Jason? Yeah.
Yeah, I concur.
Yeah. Great.
I know that Ecolane was on site a couple of weeks ago. Was that a productive visit?
Ecolane was productive. I attended that with the team as well. We had some tough questions. We got a lot of things addressed. And we also had a conversation about expectations. So once again, next month should be trending in the right direction.
And do we feel like the data hygiene work that needed to be done with Ecolane so that the reporting that we were getting was in line with what was lined out in the contract that effort has been completed?
I want to see it play out for another month. I want to see proof before I say that we're there.
Okay.
I think once the work that Ecoland has promised to do is done, and we get enough data to validate, I think we'll be there.
Okay. So they haven't completed the work yet, but they know what they need to do?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Do they have a deadline for completing it?
After the site visit, which that ended on, Wednesday, that ended, it was Thursday, last Thursday. We need to follow up with Byron and make sure that they have those deadlines.
Yeah. Nothing like the end of the year to get people off track or motivated. Let's hope it's the latter.
And then I have one, I think this is for Emily, but for, how the wheel rider guide outreach is going.
It's been good. That session specifically at Council of the Blind was at their request. But a lot of it is just clarifications over and over again, and some of it is reiterating for passengers that the rider guide is not necessarily for the air transit agency to have set rules, but it's also for customers to be able to understand what they should expect of the agency. So this is the standard that you're holding them to, and I think we were able to clarify that. But it's been good. It's a lot of the same questions over and over again, and a lot of the same concerns that we were receiving over the phone as well. So just in a group setting versus individual one-on-one questions.
And what's the most common question, concern?
We had a lot of questions about bags specifically, which we knew that was going to be a question. And then we heard from different groups about, well, I use this or that. How do I manage this with my specific disability? What should I ask? What should I say? I have a concern about this. So a lot of it ended up being individualized based on someone's personal need and their concerns. And then I think people knew that they could have a PCA with them, but maybe we're not 100% aware that if they did not require 100% assistance at all times to do every function, that they could have a PCA ride with them when they needed assistance. So we were able to.
What's a PCA?
A personal care attendant.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah.
And then we have 3 additional sessions scheduled in January.
Yes, and the board is pending.
Before this meeting.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Fred. Vicki?
Good morning.
Morning.
We are looking at the balance sheet for November 30th. We are 5 months through the fiscal year. Our balance sheet looks really good at this time. Our operating cash is strong for this time of the year, and I'll talk about that more in a minute on the next report. Everything looks good, but I'll be glad to answer any questions on the balance sheet. Okay, statement of revenues and expenses. Property taxes, this is what I wanted to mention. We received $17 million in November, so we're always happy to get the largest amount of that out for the year. And we've received about $2 million in December, so we feel like that we're tracking right on budget. We're a little bit over budget from what we received this time last year. Most of that's a timing on when people pay their taxes, but still looking good. Our passenger revenue is still over budget, so we're happy with that. Last year was $517,000. This year we're at $555,000, so that's trending up. Our federal funds and state funds are just timing, and everything for the expenses, wages and fringe and everything are under budget at this time, except for our insurance, where we've received the new buses. That's based on timing when we receive those. And then fuel taxes and paratransit are still a little over budget. October was our last month for Vanpool, so anything left in that budget will go in the paratransit budget. So there'll be probably about $40,000 that will be put toward the paratransit expenses. Media advertising, we had a lot of advertising, as you know, for the 50th anniversary. So that's that'll even out over the year, but that's mostly why that's over budget at this time. But I feel very good at this point. We're very happy with the way things are trending. Our monthly average diesel cost has gone down to $2.88. That leaves us at our annual, or our year-to-date cost since July at $3.02. And our CNG cost has gone down a little bit at $1.07. So with having more CNG buses, that's very exciting to see that go down some. But I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Nikki, the nice thing about our fares being $1 is we can make a nice parallel between increased passenger revenue and increased riding. Correct me if I'm wrong, the UK students do not pay a fare, is that
Correct. All UK students and staff, faculty, all ride for free.
And you know, we know that that's the biggest sort of block of riders that we have. So do we have a sense of where we might be seeing this increase in ridership that's leading to this over budget passenger revenue?
I think it's just the increase in ridership coming back for people going to work and things like that that we hadn't seen in the last 2 years.
Okay, so it's trending upward kind of across the board. In our core routes are growing more, the smaller routes are growing less, but sort of rising time.
Yeah, I think, yeah, as Fred was saying, I think it's just overall ridership is trending upward. Because it's hard to tell sometimes related with just passenger revenue, because if somebody buys a 30-day pass, they can ride unlimited times versus paying $1 at a per trip. So sometimes it's hard to tell, but I think it's just where ridership's increasing.
And we have discounted rates for seniors, veterans, and
We do. Seniors are 50 cents, and then children are 80 cents.
May I ask a follow-up as to the UK crowd? Is that just on campus where it's free, or is
No,
it city?
all over Lexington.
Okay, I didn't realize that.
And paratransit.
Okay, thank you.
And then I know it's always heartbreaking when we have to end a service, and it was heartbreaking for everyone when we had to end Vanpool. Any follow-up on how that transition went? Did people choose to stay with the Vanpool?
We haven't heard anything. As far as I know, the riders stayed with Enterprise. We haven't heard anything from any of the passengers that I know of.
And then you're saying the 13,000, if that remains there, will go into the overage for paratransit?
Yes, and that's under for 5 months for the fiscal year. The total budget for that will probably be about 40,000 that'll be going toward paratransit.
So still not.
It's not a lot,
Doesn't
but
close
it's a
the
little.
gap.
It's not a lot. But based on what we estimated, I feel pretty good with 5 months being 100,000 over based on, because we were taking pretty good guess there when we did the budget, because we have fuel and assessments and the paratransit trips, so we felt pretty good about that. Any more questions?
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the report? I never remember.
No.
Oh, we don't, okay. So you want me to go
If you
ahead?
would, please.
Make my motion. All right. Mr. Chairman, at this time, I would move that the Lextran Board go into closed session pursuant to Kentucky Revised Statute 61.810, Section G, for discussion regarding the provision of an agency contract, personnel matters, and paratransit.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we'll wait. All right, thank you, everybody, for your patience. We are back in open session. The board took no action during closed session and will proceed with the planned agenda. So next on our agenda is action items, starting with Resolution 2023-20, paratransit eligibility assessments.
Okay, this resolution is to award a contract to a provider for paratransit eligibility assessments. We put out an RFP in August, and we had proposals received in October. We had 2 qualified proposers, ADA Ride and IPS Links. And the proposal from IBS Links was determined to be the winner of this procurement. We felt it was a fair and reasonable price, and we would like to award this contract to them. It is a 2-year contract with 3 option years. The pricing is below. The first year is $60 per assessment, and we currently pay $60 per assessment. These would also include the auto recertifications and in-person assessments, as you'll see on the list. This was based on cost, experience, and qualifications. They just demonstrated the understanding of Lextran's needs and their hours of availability. I'll be glad to answer any questions, and if you need more information on what a paratransit accessibility or paratransit assessment is, I have that also.
So we've understood that the current process does not require an in-person assessment, but that going forward they will.
Correct.
So does that mean that ultimately our cost out of the gate has gone from 60 to 90?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, because we will pay the fee to RATP Dev for that trip.
Well, so that's 2196 on top of 90.
Yes.
Okay, so we've really gone from
Well, yeah, exactly.
60 to 120.
Doubled it, yeah.
Or 130, 120, 110, sorry. Math, not my strong suit.
But on average, how many eligibility analysis do we do a year?
We do about 130 a month.
I said 1,300 a year. No, 1,500 a year. Yeah.
Is this entity a local entity or?
Where are they from? They're not local.
I was just curious.
But they did partner with a local agency to do the in-person. Yeah, the team approach.
Okay.
And you mentioned it being a fair and reasonable price. Were they the lowest price?
Were they the lowest price? Yes.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Very good.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, next, 2023-21 drug and alcohol policy update. Hi, John.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm here to present the resolution for the adoption of an updated drug and alcohol policy for Lextran. In October, we went through an FTA audit with Cahill Swift, which is a subcontractor for the FTA. Prior to them coming here, we did some pre-work. They asked us to revisit our policy and make it more of a standardized policy for with other transit agencies. They had us use the FTA policy builder that they have on their website to construct it. What it did is it didn't conflict with what we already had. It just simplified what we already had and deleted a lot of the duplicity that we had inside our own contract or our own policy.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question if we're at that point.
Please.
In section 3, and I'll turn to Addison for some of this.
The new one or the old one?
The new one, I guess.
Okay.
Well, wait a minute. Maybe I
Because
was-
you were emailed the one that's currently in place,
Maybe I was reading the old one.
and the new one is in the packet.
If it's in the packet, it's the new one.
It's the new one. Okay, so I'm on page 34 of 51 in the packet.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes,
So this would be considered the proposed new.
correct.
Okay, so in section 3, we outline first in bullet 3, PCP. In my line of work, and that's why I'm looking at Addison, I think that is too narrow. I think it should be just hallucinogens. And then have we considered synthetic drugs? And going back up to the top, I think we should maybe say it differently. Prohibited drugs include but are not limited to, because I think the more narrow, the more exposure we have.
Yep.
So that language, again, is from their FTA bill.
The boilerplate,
The
yeah.
bill there. As far as the PCP goes, they're just gonna follow the FTA guidelines.
Okay.
And so that's why I think they keep it the way they do.
Okay,
We can edit it however we want. Any type of edits, we just have to make sure it's bolded, that it shows it's our requirement and not the FTA requirement or what Cahill Swift suggests.
okay,
So we can make that edit, no problem.
okay.
As far as the synthetic drugs, it's actually a conversation I'm having with Concentra, who does all of our drug testing. Currently, our panels don't cover synthetic drugs.
That's bad.
That is bad. I just found that out last week. To seal this whole audit process up, I'm supposed to meet with them next week.
Okay.
There's some things that we have to get nailed down with their documentation process to be FTA compliant, and that's one of the things we need to look at is our panels to make sure we're grabbing the synthetic drugs on pre-employment and random drug screens.
Okay.
So is this a bit of a chicken and egg where we need to sew up that process and amend this next month?
That being brought up, yes.
Okay,
Um,
okay, then that's what we'll do.
Okay,
We'll table this for now and we'll come back next month.
okay, thank you.
Is that a timing issue at all?
Yeah, is that gonna put us in a,
Our policy doesn't expire, does it?
It doesn't, no, I mean, the current
I
policy is
just
still
feel
in
that
place.
Okay.
It doesn't say anything about synthetics or anything either.
thank you, sorry to,
No?
No, that was very, very.
sorry to lawyer us.
Fred?
When does the audit need to be finished?
I think
January
the January 18th or
16th or 18th.
Can we close the audit with this still table?
the new drug and alcohol policy.
Is that?
So they're actually satisfied with the policies that we proposed them. We told them it had to be accepted by the board, but the auditors were fine with the policy that we drafted.
So they're comfortable with what this policy says. We'll just do that revision to it and resubmit it to them, right? And when is the next board meeting?
January
24th?
something.
Yeah, so yeah,
But I'm hearing the
No,
audit
you
finishes
would
like
decide.
January 15th or something, so the
Just
time.
the action items that they gave me, I have to have those reported to KL Swift, and those are, again, mostly documentation from our drug, the drug testing provider.
so you've already provided most of that information to FTA, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so. But it's not in relation to the policy, the policies are.
Correct. Yeah,
the-
it's something on their end that they have to make sure they have documentation in place for their administrators.
Right. So as far as the audit, we've satisfied the need, the updating the policy, and we're
Mhm.
doing what needs to be done. So, yeah, I see what you're saying. So, this will go in as this will be submitted to them as it is with the amended language, right? By then,
Yes.
you will have an amended language,
No.
But it won't be.
but it won't be
approved by the board.
approved, right, by the
Right.
board.
We need board approval
Yeah, we
on
need
this
draft.
before that audit can close, because if so, then maybe we need to pass this
And then pass an amendment.
as amended, or we can amend it again next month.
Can you give them as a draft? This is the draft, it was reviewed by the board, show the minutes that we review it and request it.
That's
You
what
wanna
I-
amend it?
that's what I-
And
No,
then
I
it will be approved. at
It seems like
next.
the thing that causes the least amount of disruption is that we pass this today, bring us an amendment next month, we'll pass that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so, to back up a half step, is there a motion to approve Resolution 2023-21 as written with the expectation that there will be an amendment next month?
No motion.
Lady moves, is there a second?
I can second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay, Resolution 2023-22, CAD AVL Intelligent Transportation and Enterprise Resource Planning Systems.
Okay, so we have for your consideration a resolution to enter into a contract with Avail Technologies for the purchase and installation of CAD AVL Intelligent Transportation and ERP systems. This RFP generated 3 qualified proposers. We did interview 2 of those. That was Avail Technologies and Equans. As we talked about back in the highlights for the month, we did have a group to go and visit Memphis that had Equans in service. We got to ask great questions and really evaluate their system in action. We also had other smaller groups who had conversations with other transit agencies, both that use Avail and that use Equans. So we felt like staff got an opportunity to really evaluate these systems. You know, Avail is the incumbent, so we are comfortable with them as well. The term of the contract that we have proposed here is for 4 years with 3 additional options of 2 years each for a total of 10 years. And the estimated cost is just over $2 million for the implementation and just over $3 million in warranty. However, the first 4 years, if you combine the warranty and the implementation, is just over $3 million. And through the CARES funding, we were requested by the FTA to set aside an amount for a capital improvement project. We did choose CAD AVL for that capital improvement, and we set aside $3.5 million. So that is where the funding for the first 4 years will come from. After that, our annual 5307 formula funding will be to cover the maintenance should we agree to extend or exercise those option years. Also included in the board packet is the breakdown of the pricing sheet. So this includes CAD AVL and ERP, which we call FleetNet, CSCED, which is a replacement for our transit scheduling software. So that is to create run picks and to do certain scheduling analyses. An infotainment system that's on board, the wayside signs as part of the transit center project, and summing all that together over 10 years is just over $5 million. So go ahead.
What is the
I
Wayside project?
was just getting ready to ask
Wayside?
the same thing.
So the exterior of the transit center has real-time arrival departure screens at each bay.
Okay.
That's what this is going to cover.
Oh,
So that's part of the transit center construction project.
And maybe I'm just riding the wrong buses. We have infotainment?
We will. This is.
Oh, we
this is-
will. Okay,
yep,
we
this
don't
is
currently.
an upgrade to the infotainment system on board each vehicle.
And is there advertising?
We have the option to do some advertising, yes.
If there's advertising blended in with the infotainment system, is that something that Avail sources and gets revenue from?
No, that was something that we would put in our advertising contract, should we want to include it with the bus wraps. If that's something that we want to manage in-house, then we could do that as well.
So the 10 years of support that I see in the summary, the actual length of the contract, okay, is 10, but a maximum of 10 years.
Maximum of 10 years.
Got it, okay. So the C-shed, say that right, that is a purely software cost? There's no, I see no equipment cost there, so that just ports onto the machines we already have?
Yeah, the labor required of that would be to build out our system.
mean, this seems like the most important piece of software we have.
It is,
almost.
it is. It
Okay.
connects every department. I think all of us are users in some way, shape, fashion, or form of the system. This is also going to push out real-time information to the passengers, so that our app, mobile phone app,
Mhm.
all of that is baked into this.
So hopefully it'll be a noticeable investment to passengers, riders.
Yeah, we hope
And
better
operators.
performance out of the app. There's going to be better information for operators in real time, better information for dispatch to use in real time, better information for planning and scheduling to help with on-time performance, better information out of maintenance and finance as we move forward with generation of purchase orders that's linked back to inventory and asset management. So it really is. It's a whole suite of products that help us all function.
I may be oversimplifying this, but in sort of software parlance, is this an upgrade or is this an entirely new software that we're buying?
We will get upgrades. This is going to, for onboard systems, we have mobile data terminals that are new in a handful of our vehicles. We do need a capital investment to bring up some of the vehicles that we've had the older equipment on. So in that sense, all that's going to be new.
So additional capital investment beyond this 10
It's
million?
all in here.
It's all baked in?
Everything's
Okay.
baked in here. We will get software upgrades as they become available.
But compared to what we have now and what we're getting, is this essentially a newer version of the same thing that we're already
Yes.
running, or is it a new product?
Mostly it's the same thing, but a newer version. CSCAD is new.
Okay.
We have the master scheduler currently, and that's a software that's essentially a guy and his brother who have created it and put it on market. So this is a much more robust and better system, and that's why we think we're going to get better data outcomes out of it. So that's the one piece that's really new. Everything else, the infotainment and the wayside signs, that's a new way to display some of the information that we already have.
Jason, you feel good about this?
Yeah, very happy about this.
I'd say it feels like the thing that you're going to be in every day, all day, so. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Motion to approve Resolution 2023-22?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, 2023-23, purchase of compressed natural gas and electric Gillig buses.
Fred and I are doing tag team today.
That's fine, it's a lot, this is one of our longer meetings, so we appreciate everybody's time.
This resolution is for the purchase of buses. There's two separate components to this. The first one, we're requesting 3 40-foot low-floor compressed natural gas buses. We did a joint procurement with Transit Authority of Northern Kentucky. Several transit agencies got together, and Tank was the lead on that. So we're purchasing off that contract. The source of funding for these buses will be the Congestion Mitigation and Air Quality, otherwise known as CMAQ grant, and there will be a 20% local match for $432,000 for those 3 CNG buses. We're also requesting to purchase 4 35-foot electric buses. We were the lead on this RFP. Some other transit agencies worked with us, Tank and TARC and some of the other ones, so we were the lead on this one. So we're wanting to purchase the 4 35-foot electric buses on this contract. So this portion would be covered by the federal fiscal year 2021 bus and bus facilities grant that we won. That was a competitive grant, and it has a match of right at $1 million. And this was budgeted in the capital plan that we passed back in the spring. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
The depot chargers, those will live here?
Yes.
Okay. I know we've had challenges with the on-route charger, which I know is not a Gillig product. Is there an on-route charger?
No, they're all depot chargers. And these are long range, so we don't need the en route charger.
So depot means it's here on site?
Mhm.
Okay.
And does any of the funding for the depot chargers mesh in any way with the funds for the shelter?
Can be.
No,
Cannot be?
Can be.
Can be, sorry, yeah.
He's saying no.
no, this
No
is totally
conflict.
separate. And we will be replacing 3 40-foot 2007 diesels. And we will also be replacing the two 2009 hybrid trolleys, the one diesel trolley, and then a 29-foot 2011 diesel. So some of our older buses.
So we're taking the trolley off the routes,
Yes.
very beloved.
I know,
Make sure.
everybody loves the trolley, I know.
Are those eligible to be sold?
Yes.
Great. Feel like there's a market for them?
Pardon me?
Do you feel like there's a market for them? Like,
San Francisco.
Not that old, probably. Not for a transit agency. There may be other. We will put them on the government surplus website to sell them, but yeah, we don't see much of a market for transit agencies.
And not a good use for the micro transit $2 million pilot?
No, these would be too big and CDL required.
Yeah.
The CDL required to operate these. And we're talking probably 2 years before these are ready. to
Yes.
be
Oh, yes.
hooked up.
The electric buses won't be here for 22 to 24 months, and the CNG buses are scheduled for about 18 months.
Could we enter with discussion in the city and visit Lex to see if they want them to purchase?
Sure.
Thanks.
it's a good idea. Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right. Now the really fun stuff. 2023-24 approval of Lextran's general manager. Yep. Trying to find my notes here. All right. As has been discussed and shared with you all previously, Lextran just completed a nationwide search for a new general manager. The decision of the selection committee, which was formed by me, Jamie Rogers, our vice chair, and George Ward, our finance chair, identified Fred Combs as our chosen finalist. This resolution affirms to approve that selection and allows us to continue with the wrap-up of any contract changes with Transdev, who, as you know, is our operating partner who provides us a general manager and assistant general manager. It's a bit of a unique structure, but one that has worked well for us for many years. So I don't know that you all have a lot of questions about Fred's qualifications. We're very happy to have him, and I would entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second? Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Fantastic. Well,
Thank you.
and then finally, Resolution 2023-25, authorization for the general manager to execute Federal Transit Administration funds. This is a bit of housekeeping, which puts Fred's name as the designee, authorized to execute and file applications for federal assistance on behalf of Lextran, and to execute and file with the application the annual certification and assurances and other documents with the FTA. So any questions about what this does or how we do it? Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Now we're cooking. Is there a change order report?
No.
Fantastic. Is there any old business? Any new business? Okay. Proposed agenda items upcoming, we will add to this list an amendment to the drug and alcohol policy, but we have deferred compensation, updated joinder agreement, designation of signatories. That will be some additional wrap-up for Fred, and then staff report on hiring and retention, which we're really looking forward to. There is no need for additional closed session. Anybody have any questions or comments before we adjourn? Wonderful. Thank you all for the time. Thank you all for the time and incredible effort. We stand adjourned.